Hello, all, and welcome to And Us Voices, where we gather some film friends to help us put the S in movies and us. My name is Jennifer Hahn.
And I'm Sarah Callan.
We found that movies can be more than just entertainment, but a way to connect more deeply with others in the world around us. We love hearing thoughts from other movie watchers, so we invited a few film friends to share with us today. In today's episode, we will be discussing In the Mood for Love and specifically answering the question, what is the scene with the most heart-wrenching yearn? After Sarah and I share our favorite scenes, you will hear from some of our film friends who were gracious enough to contribute to today's episode. So there are so many picks for heart-wrenching yearns in the Mood for Love. Sarah, I'm curious what your pick is.
Yeah, this is definitely a hard prompt because I feel like the entire film is just a heart-wrenching yearn. But the moment that I have chosen is when they are riding together in the hotel, and the film is so intentional in using the reflection in the mirror. And I think it's fascinating in that scene because we are watching them watch each other as they write. And there's something like really, I think, like vulnerable about the creation process. And so you're seeing them in this moment of like vulnerability and intimacy, but using the mirror creates this distance at the same time too. And so I think it's just a really interesting way to like look at their relationship. And I love the use of mirrors in that scene because you feel the affection that they have for one another. You feel the connection that they have. And yet there is so much distance between them. And so I love that scene.
It's a great pick. There's a joy in that scene too that see them experience for most of the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But that joy of being able to create together and to have a kindred spirit that like understands you and what you're passionate about and is getting excited about creating with you is kind of a special type of joy that they're also able to share in together, which we haven't seen them really experience for much of the rest of the movie. Yeah, that's a great pick.
Thank you. Thank you. So what is your pick?
I went with the sesame soup scene.
Oh,
So,
yes.
yeah, this is where Mrs. Chan makes the black sesame soup for Mr. Chow, who's sick. And it's all very like shrouded, so neither of them can ever really explicitly say what has happened, but this act of care and love that was expressed by making food for the other person, and she brushes it off by saying like, oh yeah, like I was just craving it and I made it for everybody. But there's this mutual understanding that they both know what that gesture was, and I really love that moment because it's a way to express care that's unspoken. And for so much of this film, so much cannot be spoken. It's also just a very Asian way of showing love by making food for another. And so I thought that scene was really fascinating. And more importantly, it's the way that they both have to do this winking look at each other to be like, oh, yeah, you were craving it. It wasn't made for me so sweetly, so kindly. And just how much they have to keep under wraps.
That is such a great choice because you feel the care that they have for each other, the connection that they have for each other, but they can't express it in an overt way. And so they have to resort to things like soup for everybody.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I was craving it. It was for everybody. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But I'm glad you loved it so much and it tasted so good. Oh,
Oh,
that's right.
that's a great pick.
Yeah, yeah. This was a hard prompt because basically the entire film is just heart-wrenching yearns back to back to back.
Yeah.
So I love that your scene pick included the mirrors because that is such a theme throughout the rest of the film and really helps make the yearns feel extra much like a gut punch.
Yeah, that distance, physical distance, but emotional closeness. And it
Mhm,
is the perfect recipe for a heart-wrenching yearn.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So these were our picks for scenes that inspired the most heart wrenching yearns in us as we were watching as the audience members. We are so curious and excited to see in a film littered with these types of scenes what our film friends picked as their choices for heart wrenching, gut punch yearns. So we are going to play the first clip next.
Hey, this is Heather Stewart. You can find me at Heather J. Stewart on all the socials and a lot of my content on the Revisionist Almanac channel. And I'm delighted to have the chance to talk about one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen, Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love. And when I got the prompt about yearning, there was one scene that I knew I had to take. It feels like the entire point of the film, and it's the one scene that I really, amongst all the many beautiful scenes that I really remember and really return to when I think about this film, more than anything else, more than any other emotional beat or conversation. It seems to hold everything that the film is about: longing, shared connection, missed opportunities. And the thing is, nothing really happens in this scene. And the yearning in this particular part of the film is all about the timing, the pause, and people just moving through the same space. The scene I'm talking about is the beautiful stairway, alley, corridor scene where they go to get food to take away. First of all, the first thing you notice is the music. It's carries so much emotion. It's romantic, but it's melancholic. And it just feels so longing in itself. And it gives the scene immediate emotion. Restrained emotion, but emotion. We see Mrs. Chan, impeccably styled as always, going down the stairs in slow motion. She's walking as if she's weighed by thought. She's looking distant. She's melancholic like the music. She's staring at nothing as she waits for her food. Wong Kar-wai keeps us at a distance. We're not invited into her thoughts. We're just watching her alone. She stays still and life is moving around her. The bustling restaurant workers. She seems to be almost like on autopilot. She's present, but she's emotionally elsewhere. She's alone. Her partner is not there, we know. He's emotionally absent and choosing to be with someone else. When she goes back upstairs, the darkness closes in on her. She still seems quiet, contained. She goes up the stairs, she exits the frame. The camera stays at the top of the stairs and waiting. Nothing comes. That's the important pause, creating absence. Then Mr. Chow comes along. He enters the same space. They just missed each other. So here we have immediate ache and longing and missed opportunity. He eats alone, slowly, like she is when she's moving, lost in thought, mirroring her stillness and her isolation. He's also been left behind. When they finally meet in the corridor on a different day, or the stairway in a different day, everything shifts. There's no more slow motion. The pace picks up. The music drops out. And we hear background sound, movement, life going on around them. They're no longer suspended in a way. They're back into the world. That connection on the stairway has given them that key to coming back into the world and making that human connection. They're moving at the same speed as everything else, but they're also in the same frame as each other, where in the other frame they were kind of alone. Now they're sharing that frame. It's a very small moment, but it's unmistakable. There's a spark, and they're not isolated anymore. They're part of the same moment. And I think, looking back, this is the scene that stayed with me most. It's kind of like a critical turning point of the film. Not because of what happens, because of what always happens in that initial spark, that close connection. And it really does sum up what In the Mood for Love is all about, and does so powerfully. Two people bound by attraction, but also the shared abandonment, finding each other briefly, and the yearning that you feel isn't loud, and it's quiet, and it's fragile. And like the film as a whole, it's kind of defined by what isn't said, what's unsaid, those missed opportunities. Like I said, a beautiful film. Beautiful. please watch it if you haven't. I love this film. Every scene is a painting, but this is the one that really stayed with me.
Hey y'all, it's Eric from E Square Reviews, and I'm excited to talk about one of my favorite films, In the Mood for Love, a film that embodies yearning. It is sparse in its dialogue, but chock full with its imagery and its glances and stolen looks between the characters. What's not said means just as much as what is said, and that score really underscores everything that it means to have unfulfilled desire and yearning for someone else. My most heart-wrenching scene that I think embodies everything that this film is about is fittingly the last scene. That's the scene where Mr. Child goes to the Buddhist temple years after his time with Miss Chan. Some missed connections there. He arrives too late to see her. And again, years later, he goes to this Buddhist temple that he talked about earlier in the film and whispers a secret into a hole so he can get rid of that pain, effectively sealing it forever in that space. This to me is the most heart-wrenching display of yearning because it occurs years after these two individuals are physically in his presence. Like, it's very easy to yearn for someone when you see them every day, when you can smell them and see their beauty and have their company. But for it to remain years later, where that person is just a memory and you have to sit with the what ifs, why didn't I should haves, that's pain. That's heart-wrenching because you know that this individual has never given up on his love for this person that was in his life. And you also know that this individual will never see that person again, will never be with that person. So the fact that he travels far, goes to this Buddhist temple, tells his secret, a secret that we don't know. It's a secret from the audience as well, but tells this secret to be able to try to seal away the pain, I thought was remarkable. It is difficult to land the plane for such a masterful movie, and I thought that Wong Kar-wai did it in such an amazing way.
Hello, this is Amanda with Oscar Upsets and the Revisionist Almanac. You can find me at both of those handles, mainly on Oscar Upsets, semi-monthly on the Revisionist Almanac, or whenever I feel like showing up. I was thankful we had a bit of creative liberty with this prompt because I'm going to need it. I've seen this film one time. I saw it last summer, I believe. But in my opinion, there's really only one most important part about this film, and thankfully that fits this prompt. With that being said, I'm kind of interested to see how other people are going to interpret this, because in my head, this was a no-brainer. The most heart-wrenching yearn that is occurring in the Mood for Love is actually the one going on throughout the entire film, between myself and the main theme, Yumeji's theme. This is the piece that repeats itself every time you get that slow-mo. You get the slow-mo shot, you get the look between the characters, you get the increased tension, you get the yearn. And what I find most impressive about it is that this theme is repeating itself several times throughout the duration of the film, and never is it altered, is it reprised. You're getting the same piece every time. And when I started to think about it, I realized this was actually a really impressive effect that it was doing. Because when you hear it for the first time, it does feel a little bit out of place. The slow-mo's a little odd. The piece is a little waltzy. It's a little melancholy. And it's not really the vibe or the tone that I would think when I'm seeing these two characters. But what's happening is when this happens the second or third time, and then throughout the rest of the film, it starts to settle into something that almost feels a little bit comfortable, because you're getting the same effect, same piece, same looks, same feeling. It's almost as if the film is conditioning you to have these feelings about these characters every time this theme starts. And I love that, and it's really effective. Because by the end, all I want is to hear this theme again. I want to see the two of them. I want to see the connection. I want the yearn. And without this theme, I am yearning in a way. So I think this works perfectly. Not only that, I do think this is just a really beautiful piece. I believe this is a violin, and I play the violin. And anytime I hear a violin in a movie score, that film has shot itself way up my list. I love it. So that is all I've got. I could keep going. However, I think it's more important that all of you just go listen to the piece again so that you can have those feelings yet again. Once again, I'm Amanda from Oscar Upsets and the Revisionist Almanac. Thank you, Jen and Sarah, for letting me participate in this, and I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, so we heard from some of our favorite film friends with their heart-wrenching Yearn picks. Honestly, such a great spread. I think it's one of the most exciting things about Andus Voices episodes is we never know where someone's going to go with a pick, and there are some creative picks in the bunch today.
Yes, we love seeing the creativity in these episodes and love being able to feature more voices on these Andus Voices episodes. So thank you so much to everybody who contributed. Heather from the Revisionist Almanac, Eric from E Squared Reviews, and Amanda from Oscar Upsets and Revisionist Almanac. Thank you so much for being part of this really special episode and sharing your most heart-wrenching Yearn.
Be sure to check out the show notes for where you can find more of on the interwebs. Go follow their content. They just are so insightful with their movie takes, and we are so excited to have featured them today. All right. Well, we are just intrigued to see what our next Andus Voices might be down the line, so stay tuned and keep an eye on the feed. In the meantime, we'll be back here with another Movies and Us review very, very soon. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Movies and Us. We are part of the Movie Archer podcast network, so check out moviearcher.com to learn more.
Our name sums it up. We're all about movies and the powerful ways we can connect with each other and the world around us. This podcast is about all of us and our shared stories.
You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you tune into your favorite shows. Drop us a rating and review, letting us know your thoughts about today's episode.
Connect with us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at moviesandUsPod, or email us at moviesandUsPod@gmail.com. Check out our website, andusmedia.co, for the latest on Movies and Us and our other podcast, TV and Us.
We hope you have an amazing week, and we can't wait to see y'all very soon.